these things. What's like someone who's in the top echelon of them, I suppose. What's your thoughts?
I don't. It's a hard one, man.
So from what I understand too, 2020-30 is the next time the engine comes under review.
So my issue with so don't get me wrong, the cars would be 1,000 times better if they had more horsepower. But so would everything, man.
Yeah.
You know. So the problem that I find with the engine itself in this class at the moment is just the availability of buying stuff for them.
Yeah. So it is starting to dry up.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only is it starting to dry up, people are starting to cotton on to what everyone's using them for, so then they become expensive.
Yeah.
So, you know, back in the day, like 3 or 4 years ago when I was starting to develop and build my own engines for winglesses, they were like $50. Yeah. So, you know, you'd find someone on Gumtree, the whole engine was $50. If you were lucky, you got a trans with it too. Like, it was killer, you know. Whereas now, you know, you pay like $500, $600, $700, $800 for an engine with no clue whether it's going to be any good or not. So then when you disassemble the engine and pull it apart, if you've got, you know, worn out components on the inside, you can't buy them. So you can't buy crankshafts and you can't buy con rods and you can't buy any of this stuff. So, you know, if you pull it apart and it's had an oil starvation problem and it's due to crankshaft, the engine is junk. Yeah. You know, you can't use it. So that's the hardest part for me, is trying to understand why they want to continue with an engine that is, you know, we understand that this wingless still is a budget class, yeah? But the word budget, mate, well, whose budget are we going on?
Yeah.
Like my budget? Your budget? So I think the word budget is wrong. I think affordable is probably the more correct, the correct term to use, but you know, with these increased costs in building engines and finding engines and getting machine work done and buying parts, you know, we're getting closer and closer and closer to being like, you know, inaffordable to do it. You know, like I've seen some engines for wingless cars like $16,000, $17,000, $18,000 for a wingless engine. Now, you know, to anyone else that's ludicrous, but if you pull apart an engine, so you pay someone their time and their knowledge to disassemble an engine, then you send an engine to a machine shop, right? And then you pay someone for their R&D, right? Because someone has spent their time and their money to research and develop an engine. So you're gonna pay them a royalty for that, yeah? So then, you know, you get cylinder heads, done and valves cut and all that kind of cool stuff. Well, mate, you've got like an $8,000 bill with the machine shop. Yeah. Well, then you put a race sump on it that is $700. Then you put billet valve covers on it. Then you put a new, you know, balancer on it. You put new this on it because, you know, you want longevity out of it. You know, you want to try and minimise part failures. Well, mate, before you look at it, you've got like a 12 or 13 grand motor with no labour in it. Yeah. Well, then you charge, you know, $1,500 or whatever labour to assemble. You're at $15,500. You know, it's just I can't. When they were $4,000 to buy, happy days, man. Put 50 of them in there, I don't care. Yeah. But at the moment, man, building them and first-hand knowing, you know, like I build these things all the time. You know, they get, you know, one thing that was $800 to do 12 months ago is now $1,300. And then you buy something that was $200 12 months ago, it's now $450. So, you know, like everything in the world, you know, I'm on the fence with it. Yeah. And I'm only on the fence with it because I still feel like the class is good, and like anything, man, you change the engine in the car, it opens up a can of worms. Yeah. It always does. You know, whether someone needs to be trained to know what you can and can't do, and, you know, it weeds out some people that can't afford, you know, like if you went to like an LS engine, like a CT 525, like say you went to the LS sprint car engine, right, which I think would probably be the most common sense engine to do. Well, yeah. Because then it diversifies 3 or 4 classes. Yeah, like you want to go run a non-wing sprint car, you know, you can go run a non-wing, and then the next weekend you want to put wings on it and go run the LS sprint car, you can. So, you know, it opens up the avenue. But then, you know, you get the people that don't want to do that. So then they're going to disagree with it and be upset with it. And then it's going to weed out a lot of the people that are just sort of racing wingless because they're affordable. Yeah. But then it's going to kill in my opinion, speed cars. Because then I'll find that you will find a majority of speed car guys jump out of speed cars, because I guarantee you, man, you put a good engine in a non-wing sprint car, you get 50 cars a night. Absolutely guarantee it.
Yeah.
So what happens there is especially in this state, is that you look at guys that are running speed cars or like even wing sprint cars for that matter, guys that are running that, they'll all just drop down. So some guy that will want to run a wing sprint car one weekend, but then there's a show at Murray Bridge that pays $2,000 or $3,000 to win a non-wing sprint car, they're just going to take the wings off it.
Yeah.
So then you add another car into it. And then the guy that's got a $70,000 speed car at home that can't race for 3 or 4 weeks because of whatever, well then they're going to go, well, this is crap. Non-wing sprint cars have just run 4 times in the time that I've been waiting to race a midget race. So there's pros and cons in everything, man.
Yeah.
At this stage, they've got the motor, as far as I'm aware, the motor's locked into like 2030 or 2029 or 2028 or whatever it is. So at this stage, man, that's the case. I think their progression would still inherit a V6 engine. I can't imagine that they're going to do a V8 one. And to be fair, I don't care how many feathers I ruffle with this though.
Look out.
Right? If you are gonna tell me that a non-wing sprint car is too dangerous and that's why you can't run them, that is a load of shit. Because super mods are a non-wing sprint car.
Yeah, I had this exact
Because
conversation.
they are literally, they have a fiberglass body on that, and if you're going to flip that thing, that fiberglass body is going to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So they're already a non-wing sprint car, and I can guarantee you, at a lot of racetracks in this country, a speed car would be 10-fold faster than a non-wing sprint car.
Yeah.
A, because the speed car has more side bite and more drive than a sprint car, so you'd be able to drive it in faster. Whereas these things, if they had a V8, you would have to let them slide into the corner, otherwise you wouldn't be able to turn.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that the whole reason that we can't get, a sanctioning body or some sort of, class together for a non-wing V8 is a safety concern. That's crap.
Yeah.
It's absolute crap.
Yeah, it's a hard one because in my mind, I think going something like the CT525 is great, and it'll bring the class up. Hopefully, bring new people to Speedway. Maybe bring the crowds back.
Yeah.
Also has the opportunity to bring some Americans out in their off season.
Yeah.
But then I'm also saying to you, worried that it kills the lower end guys.
Yeah.
Wingless.
I think you'll find in any sort of class shift or change, you'll find pros and cons with it.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast. It just depends on what I think, from my point of view, is what's going to better the sport long term.
Well, it's going to have to at some stage if parts and stuff and the blocks and stuff starting to get because they're pretty old.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And there's still guys out there that stockpile stuff.
Yeah.
So there's guys out there that still have heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of them to stockpile them. But there's got to be a line in the sand where you go right. I think a VP's 1991.
It's 91 to 93. Yeah.
So what's that? 31 years old, man.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that you need to use a component in an engine in a race car that's 31 years old because you can't buy a new one.
Yeah.
It's just common sense will prevail at some point in time, but at this stage, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the common sense part of it is because, like I said, the engine and the class at the moment is wicked. However, it has to change at some point in time. But I don't want to see the class go from a Buick powered V6 to an Ecotec powered V6. Because an Ecotec also came out in 1996.
Yeah.
So literally all you're doing is going back to the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that would really frustrate me as an engine builder and as a competitor, is that we are no further forward. We're going backwards, if anything.
Yeah.
We either need to go to some form of controlled LS engine, whether that be a carby or a mechanical injection or something. If everyone's concerned about the EFI side of things and people cheating and not being able to police it and et cetera, mate, go to a carby.
Yeah.
Or go to a mechanical injection. Man, sprint cars run mechanical injection all the time.
Yeah, I sort of had the thought of like if they do go down the road V8,